New details are coming out about the Federal Reserve removing restrictions around banks being able to participate in crypto. We got members of Congress weighing in and much more. And today was the third SEC Roundtable, and new SEC Chair Paul Atkins spoke there. I'll share what he had to say. And you won't believe what the Nasdaq sent to the SEC about crypto regulations. This is huge. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we got to talk about Bitcoin because it is currently trading over $95,000. So this strong bullish rally is continuing. And as we've been discussing, Bitcoin has reclaimed a 200-day moving average. It's clearly above it. And that's very good, guys. And the RSI shows there's a bit of room for it to keep going up, but it will hit the overbought zone very soon. So expect a bit of a pullback, and it could go down and test certain lows, or it could just do a small pullback, build support, and then keep moving up. So remember, nothing goes up in a straight line, but we are seeing signs of strength. This is very good. Global liquidity is surging. The DXY is crashing. Even the stock market is starting to recover. So good signs all around. But here it's some very, very bullish data. Folks, I often share with you what whales are doing using on-chain data from Sentiment. That's a partner of the channel. And wallets of 10 or more Bitcoin just saw a massive spike. Guys, if you look at this chart, we saw a slow, steady rise happening over the past 3 weeks. Then all of a sudden, huge spike. Whales are bullish. They're anticipating higher prices. And this is one of the bigger spikes we've seen in looking at this data. So this is very telling, and we're going to watch this closely because once they start taking profits, that's when we want to pay attention. These are the guys that move the market, and we're going to want to take profits ourselves. So make sure you have a profit taking plan. But this is a very bullish signal. The whales are anticipating higher prices. So we could be seeing, guys, what I've been saying for a while. The seasonality wise, this is a time the markets usually rally in a bull market. And it's also for the stock market, not just for crypto. And then you have all the macro factors like global liquidity and all these things and crypto legislation, huge adoption news. And we could see Bitcoin and altcoins start to hit new highs come to the beginning of June. And then we'll see what the summer brings, because usually there's a sell in May, go away seasonality type of action, price action. So we'll see. Things could be different, but I like what I'm seeing here, guys. As we wrap up April and head into May, May could be a really strong month. If you go back and look at the charts, when we saw the majority of our gains in Q4, it was at in November and then a little bit into December. So literally just about a month time. So May could bring us those gains, and then come June, we start to see the pullback. So that's how fast this thing can move. So don't be surprised by how quickly it does move. Just to have your cash out plan and the price points you're going to take profit at. And of course, I'll be sharing when I'm taking profits, and I'll be sharing the different on-chain metrics and different stats for us to validate where we're at in the market, because we don't want to move by emotions. We want to use the data, folks. All right, let's jump into some news. Yesterday, I told you guys about the Federal Reserve withdrawing restrictions that would prevent banks from fully participating in crypto. I told you guys that was massive, huge news, because you have the head of the snake, the Fed, making the ultimate call. We've got guidance from the OCC, the FDIC, both had loosened up restrictions. We got the repeal of SOB 121, but until the Federal Reserve, which controls all the banks, which controls the currency, gives the okay, we're not going to have full-on adoption from these banks. Well, a bunch of different facts and information was revealed today, folks, analyzing this. But first, the U.S. Senate Banking Committee, GOP, the chairman, Senator Tim Scott, said he applauds the Federal Reserve for following the OCC and the FDIC and taking the much-needed action to rescind harmful Biden-era guidance that reduce access to financial services for the digital asset industry. So good to see this is getting endorsement from members of Congress, especially the Senate Banking Committee. And even on CNBC this morning, they had a segment discussing the Fed loosening this up. Andrew Ross Sorkin and Becky Quick talking about this. So This is significant. Once again, guys, it's coming from the Fed, and that's the king of the hill here, right? Even the president is not more powerful than the Fed here when it comes to the economy and the finances and much more. That's why you see Trump trying to pressure Jerome Powell to cut rates and much more. The Fed, even though it's not a government entity, go do your research and there, read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, and you understand how powerful this entity is. So if they're giving the green light to the banks, this is pretty big. However, Senator Cynthia Lummis weighed in, and not only her, but also Caitlin Long, founder of Custodia Bank. Senator Lummis says the Federal Reserve's actions yesterday withdrawing crypto guidance are just lip service. She says, here's why. The Fed continues to illegally flout the law on master accounts. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that's just lip service. I think they removed about 80% of the restrictions, but there's a further 20%. So I don't think this is an accurate statement because even though Custodia Bank is getting blocked and Caitlin Long and, they're all in Wyoming. So I understand why she's doing this, but make no mistake about it. This was a big move for crypto. But let me continue here. She says, unlike the OCC and the FDIC, the Fed still uses reputation risk in bank supervision. The policy statement on Section 913 hasn't been withdrawn, which says Bitcoin and digital assets are unsafe and unsound. Lastly, but certainly not least, the Fed staff behind Operation Chokepoint 2.0 are the same people still working on the crypto issues today. So the last point I don't really think is a big deal because they were just following the instructions of the Biden administration and Elizabeth Warren, right? The people who are in control are going to call the shots, and these people just have to follow those orders. However, now that Trump's in office, they're following different orders, right? So I don't think that's a big deal. But I think why Senator Lummis is coming out so heavy-handed on this is because she's in Wyoming. She supports Caitlin Long and Custodia Bank, and so do I. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. But make no mistake about it, this move by the Fed is huge, even though it's not 100%. I think it's at least 80%. And Caitlin weighed in saying, I just noticed the Fed didn't rescind its January 27, 2023 anti-crypto guidance, which the board voted 7-0 to approve at the time, but it appears to have rescinded all other guidance it issued without a board vote. I think this means the Fed didn't yet comply with Trump's executive order, she asked. She's not too sure on that. She says, so the Fed anti-crypto guidance is still in place, which means Fed regulated banks are disadvantaged versus OCC versus FDIC regulated banks for stablecoins and other activities. The stablecoin bill, when it becomes law, would overturn this, but it ain't over yet. So it could be the Fed is waiting for legislation from Congress. I don't know, but the Fed did make a big move here, which I think is bullish for a lot of banks. But to Caitlin's point, there's still a portion that needs to be figured out here. But overall, guys, we've come a far way. We're moving in the right direction. And let's see if Caitlin and Senator Lummis are able to put some pressure and maybe get this done, or the Fed is just going to say, hey, we're waiting for Congress, pass the stablecoin and market structure bill, and we're good to go. It could just be simple as that. But guys, all the major agencies, all the folks who are working against crypto are now working for crypto. Operation Chokepoint 2.0 is shut down. The SOB 121 rule from the SEC shut down, repealed actually, and even the IRS DeFi broker rule, that was repealed. That was actually the first crypto bill President Trump signed into law. So, guys, I hope you see the bullish setup that's happening here. And while the T's need to be crossed and the I's need to be dotted, we're moving in the right direction. Now, folks, quick word from our sponsor, and that is Propy. Propy is leading the charge in putting real estate on chain, guys. We all know tokenization is the future of finance, as Larry Fink, BlackRock CEO, said, and the real estate asset class will be going on chain. And Propy has been leading the charge since like 2018. When I first learned about Propy, I invested in the Propy token. So I'm a Propy token holder. And this is going back 2018. And they are a licensed Web3 pioneer. They've been operating since 2017. They've facilitated over $4 billion in transactions. They've put titles and deeds on chain. They've created NFTs for properties. And you can use Propy to buy and sell real estate. And you can do it with crypto. which is amazing. And they use blockchain technology to facilitate the transactions, of course, and they use Coinbase for the crypto escrow. So Proppy doing some amazing things, and they have a promotion going where you can earn some Proppy tokens by simply doing simple activities like sharing your video, signing up, inviting a friend. So if you'd like to learn more about Proppy, visit the link in the description. All right, folks, the next major crypto hearing will be the Joint House Financial Services Subcommittee on Digital Assets, Financial Technology, and Artificial Intelligence, and the House Agricultural Subcommittee on Commodity Markets, Digital Assets, and Rural Development hearing entitled American Innovation and the Future of Digital Assets, a Blueprint for the 21st Century. This will be on Tuesday, May 6th at 10 a.m. So they're going to do an updated draft on the FIT 21 market structure bill. Remember, this passed through the House last year, and remember, we got to get a version together with the Senate to get it through the Senate. So things are moving. This is what we want to see. And President Trump, of course, gave the deadline of Congress getting the two crypto legislation bills on his desk before the August recess. So great to see there's action here. And I will try to get Congressman French Hill back on the podcast to talk about this. Now, today, folks, was the third SEC roundtable, and the new chairman, Paul Atkins, spoke there. He made his opening remarks there. Here's a quick quote. Innovation has been stifled for the last several years due to the market and regulatory uncertainty that, unfortunately, the SEC has fostered. And there are some other takeaways I want to highlight here. He reiterated that among his goals at the SEC would be to facilitate clear regulatory rules of the road for digital assets. And he says, I look forward to engaging with the market participants and working with colleagues in President Trump's administration and Congress to establish a rational fit for purpose framework for crypto assets. So SEC will have to play a major part in getting the crypto market structure bill together. We got to answer the question of what's a security, what's not, how do you, what type of test do you use? Because you can't use the old Howey test from 1930s. These are not oranges and orange trees. These are tokens on globally distributed blockchains that are decentralized. So we got to do something different here, right? You can't use the same old stuff. So this is really great. And I'm hoping that we could get some things going as far as altcoin ETFs. I'm sure Paul is going to be working with Hester Peirce and Marky Wader to get all this done. So really great stuff. And look at this, the Nasdaq, they sent a letter to the SEC outlining what they think crypto legislation should look like. Folks, step back for a second. A stock exchange is sending the SEC its recommendations on what crypto legislation should look like. Guys, how things have changed. I mean, the biggest institutions in the world, banks, stock exchanges, hedge funds, VCs, major payment companies are all here, and they are looking to go all in on crypto. This is so bullish. So let me give you some details here. It's a lot to read, so I'll just give you guys the TLDR. So the Nasdaq sent a lengthy letter to the SEC Crypto Task Force outlining what the ideal U.S. crypto rules would look like. So the four future categories of digital assets in Nasdaq's view should be: one, financial securities, tokens tied to assets that are securities under existing definitions like stocks, bonds, and exchange-traded funds, which Nasdaq said should be treated just the same as their underlying assets. Number two, digital asset investment contracts, tokenized contracts that can check all the securities boxes under a clarified version of the Supreme Court's so-called Howey test. Number three, digital asset commodities, meeting the U.S. definition of commodities. Number four, other digital assets, stuff that doesn't fall anywhere else and shouldn't have rules for securities or commodities imposed on it. This makes sense. I like this. These are four solid categories. It touches on tokenization of traditional assets and some new assets, but the tokens for blockchains, they're saying fall under commodities. So this really makes sense. And then the other digital assets sounds like it's related to things like NFTs and meme coins and so forth. So I like this. This makes sense. Now, devil's in the details. We got to make sure we get all the details, but at a high level, this makes sense, guys. All right, final news item. Semler Scientific buys another $10 million worth of Bitcoin. So many of you may recall this is a healthcare company. They're using the MicroStrategy playbook, or I should say strategy playbook. They got rebranded, of course, to buy Bitcoin, put it on their balance sheet. We are seeing more and more companies are doing this. It's incredible what's going on. So they bought approximately $10 million worth of Bitcoin since February 14th. And in total, they bought 111 Bitcoin for an average price of about $90,000 per coin. You think they're anticipating higher prices? Yeah, right. It now holds a total of more than 3,300 Bitcoin, worth approximately $300 million in aggregate. So, guys, this trend will continue. Corporations and different businesses are going to do this. I mean, just yesterday, I reported to you guys that Tether, SoftBank, and Cantor Fitzgerald are partnering to form a new company called 21, which will be a SPAC, and they're going to buy Bitcoin. So I hope you see what's happening here. All roads point to Bitcoin as a reserve asset. Now, there are companies adding Solana. We've been reporting on that, and some have added Ethereum. I remember there was one last year that said they wanted to add XRP. So it's going to go beyond Bitcoin, but I think Bitcoin's going to be the core asset for the corporate treasury reserve strategy. All right, folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. A great way you can support me is by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It's on Substack. Link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And my new course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that helps you learn about crypto. Knowledge is power. So this course covers every aspect of crypto, and it features expert commentary. You will hear directly from founders, CEOs, and institutional investors. This is something exclusive to this course, and no other course offers it. So if you'd like to learn more, go to mycryptocourse.com. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.